Namaskar dosto, good evening friends. I am Dr. Sanjay Kalra, your friendly and familiar endocrinologist, and you're watching Dr. KK's Med Talks, Thursdays with Dr. Sanjay Kalra. आज के हमारे नॉन स्टॉप शो का 789वां 789th एपिसोड है. Let's have the headlines for today. मेडिकल साइंस खूब तरक्की कर रही है. मेडिकल साइंस is growing, evolving, and LiveCell and Haystock Analytics have launched a genetic test called Omega TB. India has asked for an IPR, intellectual property rights waiver, for 5 years for all tests and treatments related to COVID. In the meanwhile, a post from the prestigious Singapore Post newspaper has said that Chinese vaccines have proven ineffective, thus creating a huge problem for the entire world. A new study has reported that common workplace fumes and dust can heighten rheumatoid arthritis risk. तो जिनको गठिए का दर्द है, जोड़ों का दर्द है या बा है, जैसे हरियाणवी में बोलते हैं, rheumatoid arthritis, there are many things you have to look out for. One of them is pollution within your house. And a study says that targeted drug therapy is now the future of treating virtually all diseases, including heart disease, including coronary disease. इतनी सारी बीमारियां, how do we handle them all together? And for a second, let's stop and think, इन सब बीमारियों की जड़ क्या है? जो metabolic diseases बढ़ रही हैं दुनिया में, the metabolic diseases that are increasing in the world, including diabetes, blood pressure, cholesterol, what is the root cause? Let's try to find out, and for this, let's see what our topic is for today. So our topic is weight management, an integrated approach. And if it's an integrated approach, it means that no one can treat everyone. We need teamwork. इसलिए आज के हमारे गेस्ट हैं एक बहुत ही सुपर सॉलिड स्ट्रॉन्ग टीम. लेट्स मीट टीम मुंबई. वार्म वेलकम नेहा वर्मा जी एंड शिल्पा जोशी जी.
नमस्ते.
नमस्कार. नमस्ते नेहा जी, नमस्ते शिल्पा जी. अलाउ मी टू इंट्रोड्यूस यू बोथ टू आवर ऑडियंस. सबसे पहले ऑडियंस को इंट्रोड्यूस करता हूँ. तो मैंने रिसेंटली सीखा कि जो हदीस हैं, विच आर द होली बुक्स ऑफ इस्लाम, उसमें इतनी नज़ाकत और इतनी बारीकी के साथ एटिक्वेट एक्सप्लेन किया गया है. द हदीस एक्सप्लेन एटिक्वेट इन सच अ फाइन मैनर. दे इवन टेल यू whom to say salam to and whom not to. They teach you also who is the first person who should say salam to another. तो एक चीज ये मैंने उसमें सीखी that a smaller group should say salam to a larger group, and जो larger group चल के आ रहा है that should say salam to the group which is sitting. तो क्योंकि हम smaller हैं, सबसे पहले हम greet करेंगे all the people who logged in, and we welcome Vinod ji, Dr. N.S. Sharda sir, Dr. Sandeep Puri from Punjab, Sapna Jain madam from Vellore, and Dr. Ramesh Pal Singh Pawar, again, who's a pediatrician. And we welcome Poonam Kishore Verma ji, who is a nursing senior from New Delhi. Introduce करता हूँ अपने guest को. Neha Verma ji has over 14 years of experience in consulting, coaching and counseling. She is a psychologist and she currently heads the Department of Psychology and Well-being. ये तो मैडम बहुत अच्छी चीज है. Well-being is something that is in short supply. तो ये तो बड़ी अच्छी चीज है कि instead of talking about disease, you are talking about well-being. So she heads the Department of Well-being at Fitterfly, and she manages a team of 20 psychologists pan-India. She has created varied digital interventions and therapies for persons who live with diabetes, blood pressure, polycystic ovary syndrome, and obesity. And her main contribution to her subject is the development of highly personalized, individualized intervention plans for our patients. She aims to enhance emotional and mental health and also improve self-care. Shilpa Joshi ji हैं one of the most respected dietitians and nutritionists and diabetes educators in the world, not only in India. She is one of our leading nutrition specialists, more than 2 decades of experience, and she uses the principles of MNT or medical nutrition therapy to prevent and to cure disease. She is currently director of the Mumbai Diet and Health Center, and her articles, her speeches, her talks, they are followed by doctors across the country. So warm welcome Neha ji and warm welcome Shilpa ji.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. मैं जब स्टूडेंट था and we are joined by रेखा बिटारा जी, by Dr. Pradeep Rawal from Ujjain and MP, and also by Anshu Singh जी. मैं जब स्टूडेंट था तो ये कहा जाता था that वो डॉक्टर अच्छा है who knows everything. That doctor is the perfect doctor who knows everything about his subject or her subject. बट बहुत जल्दी चीजें चेंज हुई एंड इतनी साइंस इवॉल्व हो गई कि अब कहने लगा है कि वो डॉक्टर अच्छा है जिसे पता है, द डॉक्टर इज हम्बल इनफ टू नो दैट ही और शी डज नॉट नो एवरीथिंग, but the doctor is intelligent enough to know whom to reach out to for help, and the doctor is capable enough of working as part of a team. तो पहले शिल्पा जी को क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं, मैडम इज दिस करेक्ट फॉर न्यूट्रिशन एज वेल? इज द गुड न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट द वन हु नोज एवरीथिंग, or is the good nutritionist one who knows how to work as part of a team?
First of all, good evening, everybody. Namaste. And I completely agree that every problem, especially metabolic problems, or I believe har ek health problem, you need a teamwork. So whether it is in ICU or in OPDs, or we are talking about wellness centers, a one person uh, cannot manage all the problems. हम जो देखते हैं कि even in clinics of doctors, whereas treatment can be given by doctors, the other part, a very important part of any treatment is lifestyle, because आपके हर एक के पास ही पेशेंट आकर पहली चीज शायद दवाई से भी पहले यही पूछता है कि सर मैडम सब खा सकते हैं, क्या खाना चाहिए, क्या परहेज करना चाहिए. So I think that's where part of nutrition comes. But I would like to. I mean, I am a very big fan of psychology. My belief is that if you have understood and you have accepted the problem, then whether it is diet, whether it is exercise, whether it is even compliance to medications, I think that एक वो अंदर जो होता है, the drive to do it, I think it's very important to integrated approach in managing any problem, chronic or even sometimes acute. You need a teamwork. One person can't do it all.
फुली एग्री विद यू. एंड आपने कहा द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन दैट इज आस्क्ड कि आप हमें लाइफस्टाइल या परहेज के बताएं. मैडम फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन, बीच वाला क्वेश्चन, आखिरी क्वेश्चन, ऑल ऑफ देम रिलेट टू लाइफस्टाइल. एंड
Yeah, that's
कभी कभी हम फ्रस्ट्रेट हो जाते हैं ओपीडी में भी. अभी तो आपको बता के हटा था कि आप एप्पल खा सकते हैं, अभी तो बताया था कि घी नहीं खाना, और फिर आप दोबारा पूछ रहे हैं. तो नेहा जी को पूछते हैं, इज साइकोलॉजी इंपॉर्टेंट इन ऑल दिस? एंड एक बहुत पॉइंटेड क्वेश्चन, is it the psychology of the healthcare professional which is more important or which is a stumbling block in effective metabolic treatment, or is it the psychology of the patient and her family?
Well, very good evening to everyone. I would say that in this case, both matters, because the person who's treating, the psychologist, उनका mental balance भी बहुत जरूरी है. Considering my experience when we handle so many different types of cases, खुद का मेंटल बैलेंस रहना बहुत जरूरी है. इसीलिए हमारे प्रोफेशन में स्पेशली whatever we practice what we preach. So if I recommend someone to practice meditation, for example, to keep oneself balanced, I practice that myself also because I know I need it, and then I also know how it benefits an individual. And coming to this point कि लोगों की psychology कितनी important है. So psychology is what? It's the science of human mind and body. So and behavior. सो आपका माइंड बॉडी दोनों आपस में कनेक्टेड है, एंड जो आपके माइंड में चल रहा है उसका कहीं ना कहीं मैनिफेस्टेशन आपके बॉडी में है. Simple example is about having butterflies in your stomach when you feel anxious in making a public speech, for example, or you're while going on stage. That's a very clear cut example of how your mind is connected to your body, and this reflects in your behavior. So ये तीनों चीजों को साथ में लेके चलना और तीनों को बराबर से बैलेंस करके ट्रीट करने से a lot of health related issues can be handled.
So all things are important, and suddenly now we are realizing that as a person living with metabolic disease, let's talk about obesity today. Overweight की बात करते हैं. As a person who is living with obesity, जब मैं डॉक्टर के पास या डाइटिशियन या साइकोलॉजिस्ट के पास जाता हूँ या मे बी फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट के पास इलाज कराने या सलाह मांगने, I go to seek treatment or I just go to seek advice. So many things should be kept in mind. My own psychology, the psychology of the person who is treating me, who is giving me advice. Also, the fact that one single person may not be able to give me all the advice that I need, so I need teamwork. तो इसमें तो मैडम शिल्पा मेरी राइट्स तो बढ़ गए. I need more advice, I need more people, I need people who are there to help me. But मेरी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी भी तो बढ़ती है. तो would you like to speak about rights and responsibilities of persons living with obesity, those who come to your clinic?
So, sir, I firmly believe, and I think this is something I tell my patients or people who come to me for diets for obesity is weight is important, but you are much more than your weight. If you're going to stand every morning on the weighing scale and define yourself by the scale, number on the scale you see, you're going to have a very, very poor quality of life. Okay, so I think it's very important. I think that is something that is their right to understand, that it is not the weight that is defining them, but it is the person who is defining them. While after saying that, it's very important to keep weight under control, because weight may not define an individual, but weight definitely defines metabolic disease. So if your weight is more, then your chances of, say, getting diabetes, hypertension, non-alcoholic fatty liver, if you are not an alcoholic, so on and so forth, keeps on increasing. So I think as a right, I want everybody who is struggling with obesity to understand that you are not what appears on the scale. So and I also want them, people who are not struggling with weight, to understand, to be very, very sensitive to people struggling with weight. I think that is very important. जब दो बंदे मिलते हैं, whether they meet in park, they meet in their office, they meet anywhere socially, I think it's a very Indian thing to talk about weight. अरे आप अच्छे लग रहे हैं, हेल्दी लग रहे हैं, अरे आपका वजन कम हो गया. I think we can talk about other things. There are a lot of glaring matters in this universe which we can discuss. If not, we can at least discuss ठंड है, गर्मी है, बारिश हो रही है, anything but weight. I think because weight is a very personal thing. Like we don't discuss our salaries in public, I think, and other salaries. We don't meet a person and ask them कि तुमको हर महीने कितनी तनख्वाह मिलती है. I think we should not discuss people's weight. It's a personal problem. जैसे वो कोई पिक्चर में, I don't remember the name of the movie, but आमिर खान ने कहा था कि तुम्हारे कितने नंबर आए is a very private thing between a teacher and a student. तुम्हारा हीमोग्लोबिन कम हो गया तो डॉक्टर बोर्ड पे नहीं लगाता तुम्हारी रिपोर्ट, तुमको आयरन की गोलियां देता है. तो आई थिंक दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर पीपल अराउंड, एंड आई थिंक दिस सोशल चेंज, and I am very sure Neha can say more about it than me, because I'm not qualified to say it, but I think this social change is very, very important, because people understand weight loss easily when you talk in terms of metabolism. बिकॉज आपको आपके HbA1c ठीक करनी है, आपको आपका ब्लड प्रेशर ठीक करना है, तो a 10 to 15% reduction in the original body weight is quite good enough. But अगर जो your scale is going to define your weight, then even 100 kg weight loss is not enough, because you never feel you're right enough to face the universe. You feel like people are going to say मैं इतना भी कम करके आई तो भी there'll be somebody who's going to be thinner than you. So I think that is the problem, and I think it's a right of a person that his weight is not discussed. In a person who is struggling with obesity, I think weight should not be discussed. Weight is a health parameter. We don't discuss our blood sugars in public, right? हम ये नहीं कहते कि मेरी 250 है, मेरी 300 है, मेरी 100 है. You don't do it. It's between you, your doctor, and probably the pathology lab where you are going, and nobody else knows it. And I think weight should be as sacrosanct, or whatever the word is. I don't know, whatever the word you can put it, but I think it's a very personal thing. And I think that is a right of a person who is struggling with weight.
So the right is to, to confidentiality, or at least to social sensitivity. People should not poke you. Of course, sometimes if you don't mind, it's a different matter. अब शिल्पा जी मेरी best friend है, उसका नाम है राधा पुनियानी. She studies in class 4C in Delhi Public School, and recently she scored 18 out of 20 in her unit test in Hindi. तो 18 out of 20, I told her, राधा मुझे तो 3 बार यूनिट टेस्ट देना पड़ा, तब जाके मेरे टोटल 18 मार्क्स बने out of 60. तो वो अब सेपरेट मैटर है, that is between Radha and myself, and I'm very happy that Radha scored 18 out of 20 in one exam. And actually मेरे को तो 3 बार लगे, उसके पापा को भी 2 बार यूनिट टेस्ट देना पड़ा, तब जाके उनके 18 आए. तो if you're in a safe zone, in a comfortable zone, then it's fine. So नेहा जी, ये जो concept है of safe zone, comfortable zone, how do we decide it? Let's take an example. I am a person who lives with obesity. तो अपने fears, अपनी self confidence, lack of self confidence हो तो मैं जानता हूँ. Can the people around me figure that out easily? or is it better to ask the person? How do we approach this thing? Like, for example, I can discuss my Hindi marks, जो total 3 unit test में आए थे, I can discuss them easily with Radha because I feel comfortable with her. But I may not want to discuss with Radha's papa because I mean he will laugh at me and he will think I'm illiterate in Hindi. So how do we go around this psychology, mein, social psychology? How do we figure out what to do, what not to do?
Right. Social psychology, in fact, your social environment plays a very, very important role when it comes to your self-esteem, your self-perception, self-worth, self-concept, because ये सारी चीजें आपकी आइडेंटिटी को डिफाइन करती हैं. और वेट एक बहुत बड़ा फैक्टर है जो आइडेंटिटी को गवर्न करता है, क्योंकि वेट से आपकी फिजिकल अपीयरेंस गवर्न होती है. आप कैसे दिख रहे हैं, आपकी सोशल अपीयरेंस कैसी है और कैसे लोगों के सामने आप कैसे दिख रहे हैं, इस चीज को लेके आई थिंक एवरीवन इज कॉन्शियस, बी इट एनी एज ग्रुप. एंड adolescence से इसकी शुरुआत होती है, जहाँ पे हम we start becoming very conscious of how we are looking in public, and that continues I think till the late age as well. So ये क्यों होता है? क्योंकि हमारे माइंड में एक कांस्टेंट चीज चल रही होती है कि हमें लोग जज करेंगे, किसी भी फॉर्म में हमें जज कर सकते हैं. और आई एम कॉन्शियस ऑफ माई बिहेवियर इन फ्रंट ऑफ अदर पीपल बिकॉज आई नो others are going to observe me, they are going to judge me, they may talk negative about me, and these kind of notions keep running in my head all the time, which sometimes I end up drawing conclusions like सब लोग मेरे वेट के ऊपर कमेंट कर रहे हैं, या सब लोग ऐसा मुझे बोल रहे हैं that I am not looking good. शायद आपके आसपास किसी ने ऐसा कुछ नहीं कहा होगा आपको, लेकिन फिर भी बिकॉज आपके माइंड में ये चीजें बार बार चल रही हैं, तो आपका माइंड आपको ये सिग्नल देता है कि शायद लोग ऐसा सोच रहे हैं, एंड दैट्स वेयर योर बिलीफ्स स्टार्ट बिल्डिंग. Again, to answer your question, sir, it's very important to find a safe zone. एंड सेफ जोन वो होता है जहाँ पे कुछ ऐसे लोग हों, वो एक इंसान भी हो सकता है और वो एक से ज्यादा भी हो सकते हैं, जिनसे आप खुलकर अपने मन की बात कह सकते हैं. और ऐसा एक इंसान हर एक के लाइफ में जरूर होना चाहिए. It can be your best friend, it can be your relative, it can be your parents, your children, anyone. But you need to have someone with whom you can talk, you can share freely without any censor. And at the same time, you know the other person is not going to judge you. And this will give you so much of comfort of sharing, of venting out what is going on inside you. And also maybe that other person may not be able to guide you what to do. वो direction शायद आपको नहीं दे पाएंगे, लेकिन उनसे share करने से आपको बहुत ज्यादा राहत महसूस हो सकती है. And that's how a safe zone is defined. But जहाँ तक social environment की बात है, आप हर एक की जजमेंट को नहीं काउंटर कर सकते. आप सोच सकते हैं दूसरा इंसान क्या सोच रहा होगा, उसकी सोच पे हमारा कोई कंट्रोल नहीं है, लेकिन अपनी सोच पे और अपने बिलीफ सिस्टम पे हमारा डेफिनेटली कंट्रोल हो सकता है.
तो अपनी सोच और अपने बिलीफ सिस्टम को स्ट्रेंथन करें. दैट इज वन मैसेज दैट वी आर गेटिंग फ्रॉम द एक्सपर्ट इन साइकोलॉजी. एंड द सेकंड इज टू फाइंड अ फ्रेंड टू क्रिएट अ सेफ जोन अराउंड यू. इसको हम बोलते हैं बैरो बडी, एंड वी एक्चुअली हैव दिस कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ बैरो बडीज. आप एक अपना दोस्त बनाएं. दैट फ्रेंड मे और मे नॉट बी लिविंग विद ओबेसिटी. If the person does live with obesity, बहुत अच्छा, आप इकट्ठे मिलके कोशिश करें to manage your weight and to move towards a more optimal one. मगर ना भी सही, that person should be able to support you mentally, emotionally. Lots of people greeting our experts today. निर्मला गुप्ता जी, अनामिका अनु जी हैं. अली नजाकत साहब आपको सलाम कर रहे हैं. And रुचि वर्मा says thank you नेहा जी for explaining these concepts so simply. ज्योति भारती भी हैं. And पूनम किशोर जी एक अपना एग्जाम्पल शेयर कर रही हैं. शी बॉट एन ऑटोमेटिक वॉशिंग मशीन, बट शी एंडेड अप गेनिंग वेट बिकॉज द एक्सरसाइज वाज लेस. तो एक तो शी एंडेड अप स्पेंडिंग मोर वाटर एंड मोर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, एंड शी एंडेड अप लूजिंग मोर हेल्थ. तो द मोर मशीन्स दैट यू हैव अराउंड यू, द मोर यू गेट इन ट्रबल. तो मशीन्स एंड वेट मैनेजमेंट, इसका कोई रोल है क्या नेहा जी? एंड हाउ डू यू यूज साइकोलॉजी, हाउ डू यू स्पीक विद योर क्लाइंट्स, योर कस्टमर्स, योर पेशेंट्स टू एक्सप्लेन दिस टू देम?
यस, सो मशीन्स तो बहुत सारी लोग घर पर ले आते हैं सोच के. इनफैक्ट अभी मैं दिल्ली में हूँ और यहाँ पे बहुत सारे घरों में मैं ट्रेडमिल्स देख रही हूँ, बिकॉज देयर सो मच ऑफ पोल्यूशन आउटसाइड. पीपल डोंट वांट टू गो एंड वर्क देयर, सो दे ब्रॉट ट्रेडमिल्स एट होम. एंड डिफरेंट वेज इवन वी सजेस्ट पीपल कि घर में बहुत सारी ऐसी छोटी छोटी चीजों को आप यूज कर सकते हैं अपने आप को फिजिकली एक्टिव रखने के लिए. एंड दैट कैन कीप योर वेट इन कंट्रोल, दैट कैन क्रिएट मोर मूवमेंट इन योर बॉडी एंड कीप यू एक्टिव. बट बिहेवियरली स्पीकिंग वेट लूज करने के लिए अपने आप से एक बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग कमिटमेंट चाहिए, a genuine commitment to dedicate yourself and your time to lose weight. And that time, I mean, exercise demands that time and deserves that time if you want to lose weight. So it cannot be just replaced with any such machine, whether you bring in a washing machine or you choose to wash all the utensils at home because you want to lose more weight and stand there and do it yourself. But a guided process to understand what will make your body lose weight is important. It could be a specific type of exercise, it could be a specific kind of activity that your body requires which will help you lose weight. It can be through a machine, it can be through a simple, various things at home that you can use. But somebody expert telling you what will work for you is very important to lose weight. And above and all is the genuine commitment that you make to yourself, that if I have been guided to do this, I will stick to it. I will commit myself, my time to it, and I will find time anyhow. Within these 24 hours, I will do this. And that's the biggest challenge I face with most of my clients, that जान पता है कि करना है, important है, ये भी मालूम है, लेकिन I am not able to stay committed to it or consistent with it. And वहीं से सारी प्रॉब्लम शुरू भी होती है.
तो हम जो सुन रहे हैं नेहा जी से, दैट इज जो ट्रेडिशनल इंडिया का गुरु शिष्य पेयरिंग है या रिलेशनशिप है, दैट इज इम्पोर्टेंट फॉर वेट लॉस एज वेल. You need a guru to teach you what kind of exercise to do, how to do, when to do. So we need an exercise physiologist. And maybe that gives me an idea that on Monday, we can continue this conversation about integrated approach, and we can have an exercise specialist with us in the next episode of KK Med Talks. तो एक तो हमें एक गुरु चाहिए जो हमें समझा सके क्या करना है, क्या नहीं करना, and कितना करना है, कैसे करना है. But at the same time, we need a shishya, a student. That means the person living with obesity who is really enthusiastic and who's willing to do what it takes. I mean, energy तो लगेगी ना finally. The guru cannot do the exercising for you. You have to do it yourself. तो शिल्पा जी, ये जो concept है of guru-shishya relationship, does this work in nutrition as well? Or can I just go on Google or I can go on YouTube and then pick up any kind of diet and decide that I want to follow it?
Very nice question, sir. So I don't know if the right word is guru, but it's very true कि हम जब Google पे जाते हैं and you put मन चाहे जितनी calories, say you put 800 calorie diet, you put 800 calorie Indian diet, you can put 800 calorie North Indian diet, आपको सारे type के diet मिल जाएंगे. There is no single diet which is not available on Google, and it is for free. But if it is so, then why is obesity growing? Why are people still having uncontrolled blood sugars? अगर जो मतलब it is exactly like this, that if you go on Google, you get all textbooks, but you still need to go to school and go to a teacher and then whatever pass your exam, because ऐसे ही पढ़ के तो फिर सभी घर बैठ के सारी डिग्रियां ले सकते हैं. So I think it's very important कि we go through the process. और इसमें सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज ये है कि इंडिविजुअलाइजेशन बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल पूरे इंडिया में ऐसा लगता है कि नॉर्थ के लोग सिर्फ रोटी खाते हैं, बट देर आर पीपल इन नॉर्थ इंडिया हु ईट मोर राइस देन रोटी. देर आर पीपल हु प्रिफर सम काइंड ऑफ फूड ओवर अदर काइंड ऑफ फूड. एंड इसीलिए व्हेन यू गो एंड मीट अ न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट इन पर्सन or online or via the way of a digital medium where there are digital therapeutic program where you can meet them, okay, that is a time when you can discuss your individual problems. And problems are, जैसे वो स्कूल में टीचर्स कहते हैं ना, no question is a stupid question, all questions have a lot of relevance, because that's the way you are not only clearing your concept but you are clearing concept of the whole class. वैसे ही बहुत बारी एक या दो डाइट के सेशन करने के बाद सिर्फ द पर्सन हु कम्स फॉर डाइट डजंट इंप्रूव देयर हेल्थ, बट द होल फैमिली स्टार्ट्स इंप्रूविंग द हेल्थ. बिकॉज जो रॉन्ग इंफॉर्मेशन है, जैसे ना वेरी सिंपल थिंग सर, दैट लोग जो कभी जूसेस नहीं पीते, वो जब ये प्रोग्राम्स पे जाते हैं वो जूस पीने लगते हैं. मतलब देयर इज अ जोक इन न्यूट्रिशन कम्युनिटी कि लोगों का वेट लॉस जूस निकाल करके होता है, जूस पीने से नहीं होता. बिकॉज दिन भर छीलो, काटो और उसको डालो, ब्लेंड करो, ये सब चीजों में. तो these are bad things, these are really not good things for you, but then there is a trend, so people have it. So I think once घर में एक बंदा ये करना बंद कर देता है, तो automatically that cascading effect is there on other people. And I think the biggest cascading effect is on children, and thereby you are preventing this problem in the future generation, in the generation to come. So it is very, very important. I think that, you may not call it as a guru shishya. If you want to, you can call it as a friend, or you can call it as a guide, but that hand holding, क्योंकि गूगल इज नॉट होल्डिंग योर हैंड, गूगल इज नॉट ट्राइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड आपके घर में क्या प्रॉब्लम है, आपकी कुक कितने बजे आती है, आपकी कुक को क्या बनाना आता है, क्या नहीं आता है. दिस ऑल कैन बी स्पोकन टू somebody who also understands it. So I think that is very important. I'm sure in everything, even in there are, I know we do not get medicines without prescription, but if you want to know anything about medicine, you can find it out, but you still need a doctor to treat you. You can't go to doctor and say, "Well, मेरे को metformin दे दीजिए." It doesn't work like that. The doctor has to make the decision.
Dr. N.S. Sharda sir is a senior physician from Ahmedabad, and he says कि जो पूनम किशोर जी की बात में वो ऐड कर रहे हैं कि पहले वाली जो मशीन्स थी, लाइक ग्राइंडिंग स्टोन, आटे की चक्की, वो आप घर पे अगर करोगे और खुद आटा पीसोगे तो उसके साथ आपको ओबेसिटी भी नहीं होगी, एंड वो जो आप चपाती खाएंगे वो भी हजम हो जाएगी. सो एक्चुअली द बिजली वाली मशीन्स आर द वंस व्हिच आर टू ब्लेम, and the hand using the hand operated machines, the ones which are there earlier, are the ones which are helpful. So thank you Dr. Sharda sir for reminding us. हमारे घर में भी grinding stone है, and earlier I was very fond of doing it, and my wife still does it, and actually it does help. It gives a sense of self discipline, I think. So I think I'll start again today. मैंने अपने लिए रूल बनाया हुआ था कि मैं तभी चपाती खाऊंगा जब मैंने उसका आटा खुद बनाया हो, and it's fun also. It's a fun activity. You can do it as a family. ये जो आपने बात की about the guru shishya relationship, the word being wrong, maybe we can use the word humsafar. So Neha ji, when we are working with a team, weight management team, there will be multiple people in it. Would humsafar, humkadam, would that be the right word to describe the obesity care team?
Yes, of course, क्योंकि हम सफर कौन होता है? जो आपके साथ हर कदम पे चलता है और हर हाल में आपका साथ निभाता है. एंड एक मल्टीपल टीम, मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी टीम जो आपके लिए आपको वेट लॉस में हेल्प करेगी, वो भी एग्जैक्टली यही करेगी. हर कदम पे आपके साथ चलेगी, आपको सही तरीके से गाइड करेगी फ्रॉम एवरी एंगल, वेदर इट्स योर डाइट, वेदर इट्स योर एक्सरसाइज और फिजिकल फिटनेस, वेदर इट्स एनी मैनेजिंग एनी पेन इन योर बॉडी, वेदर इट्स मैनेजिंग स्ट्रेस और स्ट्रीमलाइनिंग योर रूटीन. कि डेली रूटीन में, जैसे आपने कहा कि मेरे पास भी आटे की चक्की है और वो चलाने का आई मेक अ रूल एंड आई डू इट. ऐसे बहुत सारे टेक्निक्स है जो शायद लोगों को और भी पता होंगे, बट द बिगेस्ट चैलेंज इज कि टाइम नहीं है, करें कैसे. Lot of such suggestions come from professionals, but people don't know how to implement them because they don't have time or they are not able to manage their time effectively. So ये सारी चीजें प्लस लाइफ में स्ट्रेस है और इतने सारे प्रेसिंग इश्यूज हैं, बहुत सारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज हैं, प्रायोरिटीज हैं, इन सब चीजों के बीच में हम दब के रह जाते हैं एंड फाइनली जो चीज सफर करती है वो है हमारी हेल्थ. और ऐसे में अगर हम कदम या हम सफर जैसी एक टीम आपको मिल जाए तो दैट कैन बी आई वुड से अ बोनस एंड ऑल्सो somebody to guide you in the right direction, tell you exactly what you should be doing, which will work for your body, because since just like every mind is different, every body is absolutely different. और जो टेक्निक एक इंसान पे काम करेगी वो दूसरे पे शायद नहीं करेगी. इसीलिए जैसे मैम ने भी कहा कि वो गुरु शिष्य वाला और somebody who is more experienced than you can tell you. अदरवाइज गूगल से पढ़ के सब सारी बीमारियां ठीक हो सकती थी, सब लोग पतले हो सकते थे, बट वैसा नहीं हो रहा है.
You're right. And कई बार गूगल पे जाके मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन मिलती है, बिकॉज अगर कोई एडवर्टाइज कर रहा है, कोई एडवर्टाइजिंग गुरु है, he is doing it for ulterior motives, not necessarily for health. It might be done for sale. I would like to mention here there is a difference between Ayurveda and Ayurvedic businessmen, or businessmen who masquerade as Ayurvedic doctors. Ayurveda is a very respected field, a very respected science. 5000 साल से है. There are strengths and there are limitations. हर एक साइंस की strengths और limitations होंगी. If you go to an Ayurveda Acharya, somebody who is senior, somebody in an Ayurvedic medical college, you will get totally different information. But if you're going to rely on newspapers and social media, the advertisements that are given there, they are not given by the senior Ayurvedic doctors of the country. None of them needs to advertise because they have so many patients. The advertisements are given by businessmen. So be aware of the difference and reach out to a qualified and a respected Ayurvedic physician to know about their strengths. Don't rely on social media. Similarly, डाइट के लिए जब चीजें आती हैं कि आप ये वाली डाइट बंद कर दें, ये वाली शुरू कर दें, तो reach out to a qualified nutritionist before seeing whether that is deciding whether that is accurate or appropriate for you or not. शिल्पा जी के पास वापस जाते हैं. मैडम, आपने बात की चपाती की, कि एवरीबडी नॉट डजंट ईट चपाती. चपाती भी अलग अलग तरह की है, डिपेंड्स कि ऊपर घी कितना रखा है. एंड नाउ इन हरियाणा सम ऑफ माय पेशेंट्स दे आर इन द फैशन जी. हमने बोला जी घी मत खाओ, नहीं खाते जी. मक्खन मत खाओ, नहीं खाते. मक्खन इज इन हिंदी, वन ऑफ आवर लोकल टर्म्स इज टिंडी. सो दे विल कम एंड से जी मैंने मक्खन नहीं खाया मगर टिंडी रखी थी चपाती के ऊपर. दैट मीन्स मैंने अमूल बटर नहीं रखा था, बट आई पुट द व्हाइट बटर, द होममेड वन. तो कैलोरीज तो उतनी है. तो वो सब बंद करके देन दे फिगर आउट कि ऑलिव ऑयल लगाएंगे ऊपर से. And I lost my temper at one of the patients because I mean, how on earth would I ever imagine that olive oil was going to be used to put on the chapati? So एक simple सा question आएगा कि how to cook a chapati, whether to knead the dough in water or in you can put a little bit of milk or a little bit of curd to make it softer so that you don't need extra butter. ये सब चीजें कौन सिखाता है? How to cook food in a tasty manner, how to cook food in a healthy manner. ये न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट का काम है या आई कैन लर्न ऑन गूगल?
से क्या होता है कि टिपिकली द वीडियोस जो गूगल पे आती हैं दे कम फ्रॉम शेफ्स. एंड अगेन आई हैव अ लॉट ऑफ रिस्पेक्ट फॉर शेफ्स बिकॉज द जॉब ऑफ शेफ इज टू मेक फूड एक्सट्रीमली टेस्टी. देयर जॉब इज नॉट टू मेक इट थेरेप्यूटिक. मतलब हम ना रोज शेफ की बुक्स खोल करके खाना बना नहीं सकते बिकॉज इट इज़ वेरी कम्बरसम. ये बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स होता है, बहुत स्टेप्स होती है वगैरह. सो रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी का खाना यू कैन डेफिनेटली टॉक टू योर डाइटिशियन फॉर द टिप्स. तो while they will not give you the recipe के पाथ रेसिपी like chefs give you that पाव चम्मच हल्दी डालना और 1.5 चम्मच ये डालना, it doesn't work like that, but they are definitely going to give you tips. So for example, जैसे रोटी हम खाते हैं तो we say that if you eat too many carbs your blood sugars go up या your weight goes up. So like sir said कि दही या दही के नीचे का जो पानी जिसको वे कहते हैं, वे में अगर जो आटा गूंदा जाए तो यू आर एक्चुअली इम्प्रूविंग द प्रोटीन प्रोफाइल ऑफ दैट सेम चपाती विच अदरवाइज वाज जस्ट कार्बोहाइड्रेट. सो थिंग्स लाइक दैट. या उसमें अभी ठंड के दिनों में हरी सब्जियां डालोगे रोटी के आटे में तो यू इम्प्रूव द फाइबर कंटेंट. So these kind of small therapeutic tidbits you're going to only get from a dietitian. So that is why meeting a dietitian is important if you're trying to manage any of the metabolic conditions, because unlike what people think कि हम डाइटिशियन के पास जाएंगे तो पहली चीज करेगी कि खाना बंद कर देगी. ऐसे नहीं होता है. देयर आर मोर थिंग्स वी टेल यू टू ईट. We tell you how to modify existing food. So I always tell everybody, and I must have quoted this in so many talks, that any kind of metabolic disease you don't need to cook different food. You need to eat the same food in a different way. So वो क्योंकि घर में 4 लोग हैं और एक को डायबिटीज है या एक बंदा वजन कम कर रहा है तो 3 लोग थोड़ा ना अलग खाना खाएंगे. So it's the same food, and there is no lady in the house who's going to cook one thing for herself and one thing for her kids and another thing for her husband. It doesn't work like that. We are all women. Me and Neha are women, and we won't do that in our own house. So it's impossible. So I think it is the same food, wahi cheez banegi, but it will be eaten in different way, and that's what dietitians teach you. And they also teach you that what can you do with the existing food so that your other family members get a lot of advantage. So sir, you would agree with me. There are a lot of clients who come to us who say कि मैडम हमारा तो ठीक हो गया पर मेरे हस्बैंड का भी 10 किलो कम हो गया, मेरे बेटे का भी 2 किलो कम हो गया. And so cumulative family has lost about 30-40 kgs of weight. That person must have lost whatever 8-10 kgs, but the cumulative family weight loss is a lot. Or even sugar management, one person comes and others अपने आप because the food is so healthy that others start showing a good postprandial.
And they're able to prevent their diabetes then, even better.
Correct.
पूनम बजाज मैडम हैं फ्रॉम दिल्ली एंड शी वुड लाइक टू जॉइन द कॉन्वर्सेशन. तो हम एक कॉन्सेप्ट यूज करते थे, culinary cruelty. Culinary cruelty means कि as a person living with obesity or diabetes, I go to a marriage or I go to a function and सब लोग cruelty के साथ ये नहीं खाना वो नहीं खाना, या तो उसके पीछे लगे रहेंगे मेरे, या वो मुझे कहेंगे नहीं थोड़ा सा रसगुल्ला खा लो, थोड़ा सा गुलाब जामुन खा लो, डजेंट मैटर. वो एक रसगुल्ले में जो 200 कैलोरीज हैं वो पूरा करने में तो मेरे को 10 दिन एक्सरसाइज करना पड़ेगा. दैट दे फॉरगेट. So that is one form of culinary cruelty. But Poonam Bajaj madam एक और point raise कर रही हैं, which you have alluded to. That is, think of the person who is cooking at home. The lady who is cooking at home is not only a mother or a sister or a daughter. She is also working. Whether she is a home manager or she is working outside, she has to do other things. जो शेफ है वो full time शेफ है, उनको एक ही काम करना है, शेफगिरी करनी है, और उनके पास असिस्टेंट भी इतने सारे होते हैं. तो पूनम किशोर मैडम कहती हैं, पूनम वर्मा मैडम, दैट डू मैक्सिमम टास्क बाय योरसेल्फ, बट मेक श्योर that you choose meals in such a way that less time is spent in cooking. Don't give fancy diets or fancy recipes which take 6 or 12 hours in cooking and which are very expensive. तो ये भी एक तरह का culinary cruelty है. Cruelty not against the person who is living with obesity, but against the person who is cooking at home, the person who is taking care of that obese person. तो दोनों तरफ से we should try to avoid culinary cruelty. So thanks. And Poonam ji goes on to say that एक ये भी issue है that so many resources are available, you know, packed food, non-seasonal food, instant food, online food, and those Zomato people and all, they keep on advertising, so they make you feel hungry. They will say you take a 40% discount, but they forget to tell you कि 60% तो आप ही खर्च रहे हो ना. So that they forget to tell you. So you end up eating more. And
Sir, I would want to add one more thing here. When
Yeah.
you spoke about culinary cruelty as a term, I think Neha will also agree with me. In our country, food is used as a barometer of love. मतलब अगर जो मुझे आपके बहुत आवभगत करनी है तो आपको खूब खिलाना is the only way that I can show that I respect you, or I have regards for you. या अच्छी माँ वही है जो बच्चे को ठूस ठूस के खिलाए. If some mother says के मत खा, तो then she is not a good mother. And this is depicted in Bollywood everywhere. So we have representation of it everywhere. A good wife is one who feeds her husband. So शादी के बाद वजन बड़ा नहीं बंदे का, तो फिर then he's not married a right woman, kind of thing. That's the thing. So I think this has to sort of, again, I think this has to delineate, because then, it becomes a norm. And people who don't do it start doing it out of peer pressure. I mean, this is something very, very common, especially among young mothers. Okay, if that's the barometer at which you are studied, then everybody starts doing it. And if they can't cook, then they start buying and feeding their kids, which is even the worse, like Madam said.
Yeah, I realize another thing. अभी दिमाग में thought आई. We have these well baby competitions. तो 3 years वाले, 4 years वाले, 5 years वाले, that has also become a big industry. And उसमें then the mothers are pressurized कि बच्चे को ज़्यादा गुबली गुबली करो, ज़्यादा चबी चीक्स बनाओ, ताकि बच्चा इनाम लेके आए. So Neha ji, how do we handle this? This is a social issue. It's a psychological issue. So how do we handle at the family level, and how do you handle at a larger level?
Right. This is definitely a social issue. Yeah. And social psychology में इसको हम social influencers भी कहते हैं, जिसमें मीडिया आ जाती है, हमारी फैमिली और बहुत सारे रिलेटिव्स, और जो कुछ हम स्क्रीन पे, और आजकल तो सोशल मीडिया भी इतना बड़ा इन्फ्लुएंसर बन गए हैं, जिसमें जो हम एक्टर्स को करते देखते हैं या सामने जो हम स्क्रीन पे देख रहे हैं, उसका बहुत बड़ा इम्पैक्ट होता है हमारे माइंड पे. वी स्टार्ट थिंकिंग लाइक दैट, वी स्टार्ट बिहेविंग लाइक दैट, एंड सो मच सो दैट ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम वी स्टार्ट बिलीविंग लाइक दैट ऑल्सो. And once it hits your belief system, then it's very difficult to even get rid of that thought or that feeling or that behavior. So ये बहुत ही I would say contingent और वैसी वाली प्रॉब्लम है, जिसमें कि हमें करना क्या है, सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट है at family level. It's very important firstly to be aware. जहाँ अवेयरनेस कम होती है किसी के भी बारे में, हमारे को नॉलेज नहीं है पूरी तरह से, वहां पे इस तरह के इन्फ्लुएंसर्स हमारे माइंड पे बहुत जल्दी रोल प्ले करते हैं, बिकॉज देयर इज हाफ नॉलेज विच इज इक्वल टू नो नॉलेज एट ऑल. So one very important thing is to read up and get full knowledge of what you want to do. for dealing with various problems. Now जहां तक बच्चों को खिलाने का सवाल है या हस्बैंड को खिलाने का सवाल है, ये सारी चीजें again they are governed by what people have been saying and talking over these many years and you've been hearing about it. But what is more important is a reality check that is what if I'm a mother of a 4-year-old son. I'm actually a mother of a 4-year-old son and my son is very lean, बहुत ही पतला दुबला है वो. And I remember as a mother it's very natural to have this anxiety that he's not putting on weight. And even I used to go to the pediatrician and ask why is he not putting on weight. I feed him, but I feed him normally. I don't ask him to have lots of cakes and unhealthy stuff and junk food, but he's still not putting on weight. So is there anything metabolically wrong with him? And the doctor said that as long as he's lean but active, you don't need to worry. So this is what knowledge I gained from the right source. And that's when I stopped worrying about feeding my child. उसको जितनी भूख लगती है मैं उसको उतना ही खिलाती हूँ और उसकी बॉडी के लिए जो चीज़ों की ज़रूरत है ग्रोइंग ईयर्स में वो मैंने एज अ मदर पढ़ा समझा and I'm implementing that. So same is to gain more knowledge, to be surrounded by people or professionals who can guide you at the right time and seek advice from them whenever required, rather than Googling or watching YouTube or different kinds of, negative social influencers, so to say, who can probably pull you in a wrong direction. And the third thing is to deal with people who criticize. So for example, if your neighbor tells you that आप नहीं खिला रहे हो अच्छे से, इसके तो पहले बड़े चबी चीक्स थे, अभी तो बहुत दुबला हो गया है, बड़ा ही पतला दिख रहा है. These kind of things pinch you as a mother because then you start questioning your own self whether I've been taking care of my child well or not. So and बहुत बारी तो जब पेरेंट्स हेल्दी होते हैं और बच्चा दुबला होता है तो बोलते हैं कि उसको भी तो कुछ खाने को दे दो, लगता है आप दोनों ही सब कुछ खा जाते हो. So these things sometimes pinch you also, but then you should be able to defend it, and you will be able to defend it only when you have complete faith in yourself that what you're doing is right. And then countering such people and telling them that what I'm doing is right will give you the confidence that yes, you are doing right with your child.
So self-esteem, self-confidence, and also the right knowledge from the right people. And I think on a continuous basis, क्योंकि
Yes.
नॉलेज भी इवॉल्व होती है एंड हमारा भी फेज ऑफ लाइफ इवॉल्व होगा. जैसे अब छोटे वर्मा साहब है हमारे, नाउ ही इज 4 years old, so he has different needs, but कल को he will be 8 and then 18 and then he will have different needs, so we have to keep on learning newer and newer things. Dr. Shubhlata Chetwal madam है senior physician from New Delhi. She says that if you do your routine work yourself, your household work, आधी exercises तो उसी में ही हो जाएंगी, so that will keep you physically fit. And Shubhra Guha ji कहती हैं that she got benefits via a nutritionist diet. And thank you from Rutuja Patil ji for all the nice information. But we are talking now about an integrated approach, and what we are learning is कि integrated way में इकट्ठे मिलके हमें काम करना है. We need psychological support. We also need nutritional support. And we've been alluding to exercise again and again. तो प्रदीप रावल जी पूछते हैं, let me take this question. What are the weight management strategies? तो डॉक्टर प्रदीप, जब हम डायबिटीज की बात करते हैं, our first line therapy is lifestyle modification. मगर जब हम ओबेसिटी मैनेजमेंट की बात करते हैं, our first line is called behavioral therapy, intensive behavioral therapy. That's the first line. उसके बाद हम बात करते हैं डाइट और एक्सरसाइज और मेडिसिन की या सर्जरी की. So let's do this one by one. In a few lines, नेहा जी, what is behavioral therapy? Behavior क्या होता है सबसे पहले? Cognitive, cognition, behavior and behavioral therapy क्या होती है?
Right. So cognition is what I'm thinking, what's going on in my mind. That is cognition. And जो मेरे mind में चल रहा है, that is affecting or impacting my actions. That is my behavior. Whatever I'm acting upon is my behavior. Now, behavior therapy is a very interesting way actually to lose weight, and it has come up. Intensive behavior therapy, जैसा sir ने कहा, that has come up with a wonderful technique to help people understand what to do, how to act upon when you want to lose weight. And आपके actions में इतने सारे आपके beliefs जुड़े हुए होते हैं when it comes to weight loss, that उन beliefs को counter करके आपके actions को govern करना important हो जाता है. So intensive behavior therapy basically takes into account all the poor habits probably that you've been having for these many years, due to which you ended up gaining weight. And then to teach you in a very systematic manner that how do you unlearn those unhealthy habits and learn new ones. और ये कहना जितना आसान है, करना उतना ही मुश्किल है, क्योंकि ह्यूमन टेंडेंसी है टू रेजिस्ट चेंज. It's a very natural tendency to resist change. If you tell me आप ये चेंज कर लो, आप एक इवन एक टाइप ऑफ ऑयल भी आप किसी को खाने को चेंज करने बोलेंगे, पीपल क्वेश्चन दैट चेंज, दैट व्हाई एंड विल इट वर्क फॉर मी। वो बेसिक जो फर्स्ट रिफ्लेक्स आता है अंदर से वो है कि आई डोंट नो इफ आई विल बी एबल टू डू दिस। सो वहीं पर सही हैबिट्स को चेंज करना, एक सेट रूटीन को ऐसा बनाना जिसमें कि आपके सेल्फ केयर एक्टिविटीज सारी आ सकें, which includes again following a proper diet, exercise, self care activities, relaxing yourself, managing your stress, and a lot of other things that should be a part of your daily routine. And nobody will give you that on a prescription actually. One knows, एक इंसान को खुद ही पता होता है कि मेरे एक पूरे दिनचर्या में मुझे क्या क्या करना चाहिए which will benefit me. So ये सारी चीजों को एक साथ रखना, and then accordingly behavior आपका condition होता है over a period of time when you start taking care of your lifestyle, and most importantly working on your mind. IBT, what IBT does is it focuses on your mind and starts conditioning it to think in a certain way, and when you start thinking in a certain way, it starts reflecting in your behavior in that way. Because as I said, mind and body connection, there are in fact neural networks which connect your mind with your body. So जो इन्फॉर्मेशन आपके माइंड से बॉडी में फ्लो हो रही है या बॉडी से माइंड में फ्लो हो रही है, उसके कनेक्शन की वजह से ही बहुत सारे आपके एक्शंस चेंज हो सकते हैं, बहुत सारे नए हैबिट्स फॉर्म हो सकते हैं, बहुत सारे लाइफस्टाइल में हेल्दी चेंजेस आपके आ सकते हैं once we start using IBT as a concept to lose weight.
So the first one is IBT, and thanks Neha ji for explaining such a difficult subject in such a simple manner. बहुत ही सरल तरीके से आपने हमें समझाया। तो डॉक्टर प्रदीप का क्वेश्चन था, what are weight management strategies? The first is behavioral therapy, and because weight बहुत ढीठ चीज होती है, it's a very stubborn thing to get rid of, तो you need IBT, intensive behavioral therapy. Intensive का मतलब the frequency of interaction with the psychologist should be high, and the depth of interaction, मतलब कितनी गहराई में जा रहे हैं, that should also be deep, it should be more. तो बार बार मिले साइकोलॉजिस्ट से और खूब सारी चीजें डिस्कस करें, not only the depth but the breadth also. Breadth means खूब सारी चीजें, whatever is going on in your lifestyle. तो एक एपिसोड में या एक इंटरेक्शन में नहीं कर सकते, so you need long term programs. तो before we come to शिल्पा जी, एक नेहा जी को पूछते हैं, you are part of such a long term program, and what duration have you taken for this? Why is it that you feel you need a particular amount of time to be able to make meaningful changes in a person's thought process and a person's behavior?
Yes, so duration also matters a lot because the change that we are trying to bring in is not just a superficial change. We are looking at a sustainable change, or even a weight loss, or the changes that we are trying to incorporate in one's lifestyle. We want someone to sustain it over a lifetime. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि आपने एक वेट मैनेजमेंट प्रोग्राम ज्वाइन किया, आपने इतने एफर्ट्स किए और जब आपने वो प्रोग्राम छोड़ा तो आपका वेट वापस वहीं का वहीं पहुंच गया। भले ही आपने काफी कुछ लूज किया हो, लेकिन आपने वापस वो पूरा गेन कर लिया। That's not a sustainable approach. And intensive behavior therapy is a long-term technique because we are trying to alter the beliefs, the faulty beliefs that people have. We are trying to change the mindset of people and build a healthy mindset which is going to govern your actions into a healthy direction. So that takes time. हर इंसान को अपने अंदर एक बदलाव लाने के लिए एक समय चाहिए होता है, एक रियलिस्टिक टाइम चाहिए होता है, एंड वो जब धीरे धीरे करके आपके माइंडसेट में चेंज करते हैं तब जाके आपके बिहेवियर में वो चेंजेस रिफ्लेक्ट होते हैं। सो फॉर अ गुड वेट लॉस आई वुड से हम लोग अभी फिलहाल IBT 3 months में भी कर रहे हैं in a short span where we divided things in such a way that in 3 months also people get a good weight loss and the changes are sustainable. But ideally if somebody is looking at like 15-20 kgs of weight loss, अगर ये sustainably हम over a period of 1 year इसको करते हैं तो वो weight loss आपका हमेशा sustained रहेगा. It will not come back to you just the way it does in, let's say, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 3 months.
Yeah. And let's say you are 30 years old or 40 years old, तो 3 दिन या 4 दिन में तो आप नहीं ना चेंज कर सकते पिछले 30 या 40 दिन की ट्रेजेक्ट्री, 40 सालों की ट्रेजेक्ट्री को, so it takes time. So the first was IBT, intensive therapy, and we realized why it has to be intensive and sustained. But Shilpa ji, within the behavior, let's take 3 things. एक तो stress management हो गया, and we have spoken about this many times on KK Med Talks. दूसरा हो गया exercise, and तीसरा हो गया diet. Now general सब जो डायबिटीज के या ओबेसिटी के डॉक्टर्स हैं सब बोलेंगे कि एक्सरसाइज के साथ वेट उतना कम नहीं होता जितना डाइट रिस्ट्रिक्शन के साथ होता है. बट एक्सरसाइज हैज टू बी डन बिकॉज एक्सरसाइज विल मेंटेन योर मसल. अगर आप एक्सरसाइज नहीं करेंगे तो आपकी मसल्स वीक हो जाएंगी. तो आप डाइटिंग के साथ या प्रॉपर न्यूट्रिशन के साथ वेट कम करते हैं, एक्सरसाइज साथ में करते हैं टू मेंटेन योर मसल्स एंड ऑल्सो टू मेंटेन योर फंक्शनैलिटी. तो let's talk about MNT, medical nutrition therapy. This is the number 2 aspect of weight management, जो डॉक्टर रावल का क्वेश्चन था. What are the do's and don'ts in MNT?
Okay, so I'm taking a leaf out of what Neha is saying, that everything has to be sustainable. So while we are talking about weight loss, I would want to emphasize one thing. सर ने जैसे कहा कि वेट बहुत ढीठ होता है, वो कम नहीं होता, पर वो इतना ढीठ होता है कि जब कम हो जाता है तो तुरंत आ भी जाता है वापस. सो वेट रीगेन आफ्टर वेट लॉस is a bigger problem, and therefore any weight loss program that you do has to have two arms to it. There is a weight loss arm, which is 6 months probably, but there is a weight maintenance arm which is lifelong. And therefore, what is MNT going to do here? MNT is going to help you to give you sustainable changes which will lead also to weight maintenance. मतलब डाइटेटिक्स सर्कल में ये बहुत एक फेमस कहावत है कि व्हाट इज वेट लॉस? यू लिप सील योर लिप and you move your hip, you lose weight. But how many days are those lips going to be sealed and hips going to be moving? That's the bigger question. So आप 3 महीने शायद रसगुल्ला ना भी खाओ, पर रसगुल्ला खाने के बाद भी वो वेट नहीं बढ़ना चाहिए, is the technique what MNT teaches you, because ultimately life takes on. See, you can be committed 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years to a program, but उसके बाद तो आपने 2 साल ऑफिस से भी छुट्टी ले ली. Okay, you stopped working, you only concentrate. A lot of people do that. I'm taking a sabbatical and I'm looking after myself. But one fine day you have to get back, right? To, because that what you do will support what you have to do. So पैसे नहीं होगे तो डाइट कहाँ से करो, वो दवाइयाँ कहाँ से लोगे? You can't do. So I think that is very important. That is where MNT stands out from fat diets. तो शायद आप गूगल पे पढ़ के एक हाथ डाइट कर भी लो, आपके 10 किलो कम हो जाएंगे. शायद मेरे पास आओगे तो 4 ही किलो कम होगे, पर मेरे 4 किलो विल नेवर गेट कन्वर्टेड टू 3 किलो लेटर ऑन इन योर लाइफ. वेयर ये 10 किलो के -10 किलो के +10 किलो बहुत आसानी से हो जाते. सो आई थिंक दैट इज वॉट MNT, दिस इज द बेसिक weight management strategy which is used when dietitians plan, that it can be slow, it can be sustained, but it has to be sustainable over a very long period of time.
So I think that is the biggest do. जो भी करें सस्टेनेबल करें, जो लंबी देर चले. And हमारे पास 2 examples हैं, good and bad. So the bad example is me. I actually went on a fat diet, on keto diet many years ago. I lost 10 kg. All of it came back with compound interest. तो न्यूटन्स लॉ ऑफ मोशन कहता है इक्वल एंड ऑपोजिट रिएक्शन, बट यहाँ पे ऑपोजिट एंड मोर देन इक्वल रिएक्शन हुआ. एंड बाकी जो सारी हेल्थ प्रॉब्लम्स थी उनमें से फिर निकलने में फिर 6 महीने और एक्स्ट्रा लग गए मुझे ड्यू टू द कीटो डाइट. तो द स्पीड वाज वेरी गुड बट द वेलोसिटी वाज इन माइनस. जो गुड एग्जांपल है दैट कम्स फ्रॉम तमिलनाडु, फ्रॉम वेल्लोर, जहां से स्वप्ना जैन मैडम ने लॉग इन किया है. एंड स्वप्ना जैन जी कहती हैं, थैंक यू टू बोथ द स्पीकर्स, टुडेज टॉपिक इज फैंटास्टिक, सो मच टू लर्न. इससे हमारा दिमाग खुलता है. It's not that Shilpa ji has actually taught us how to make chapatis and idli and dosa, but she has opened our minds to the endless possibilities in the kitchen. Maybe we have already begun realizing what we are doing wrong in the kitchen. And Neha ji has opened our minds to our own minds actually, कि हमारे mind में कितना scope है, कितना potential है, and we can use our mind to manage our weight. And दोनों ने हमें बताया that we have to do it together as a team. So Swapna Jain ji, thanks you. She says everybody's mind and body is different, and experts will tell you what suits you the best because they are more experienced. They may or may not be living with obesity, that is separate matter, but they would have interacted with so many people in the course of their professional career that they will be best placed to help you out. So thanks Swapna ji for that. And जो good example मैं बता रहा था, Swapna Jain ji is an advocate for healthy living with obesity, and she herself has been able to lose weight and maintain it in a sustainable manner. एंड जो सीनियर जैन साहब हैं घर पे एंड मिसेस जैन है, शी हैज बीन एबल टू इन्फ्लुएंस देम एज वेल, तो उनकी भी डायबिटीज बहुत बढ़िया अंडर कंट्रोल रहती है. एंड द पीपल हु आर मोस्ट हैप्पी आर हर फिजिशियंस जो हैं प्रोफेसर नितिन कपूर फ्रॉम सीएमसी वेलोर. तो काम सारा स्वप्ना जी करती हैं, परहेज सारा सपना जी करती हैं, और सब लोग बोलते हैं डॉक्टर नितिन बहुत अच्छे हैं, वो बहुत अच्छी दवाई देते हैं. So Sapna is with us. So Sapna, how does it feel when you work with Dr. Nitin Kapoor to manage your weight? Who is the leader of the team? And while we wait for Sapna ji to answer on in the chat box, तो नेहा जी को पहले पूछते हैं. It's nearly 1 hour now. In the diabetes care team or in the obesity care team, who is the leader? Is it the person living with obesity or is it us, the healthcare professionals?
Well, it's the person who is living with the issue because they are on the driving seat. We are the ones sitting behind and telling यहाँ से लेफ्ट लो, आगे गड्ढा है मत जाओ और यहाँ से यू टर्न ले लो. लेकिन गाड़ी चलानी उनको खुद ही है और कहाँ ब्रेक लगाना है नहीं लगाना है अल्टीमेटली ये उन्हीं को करना है. वी कैन ओनली टेक देम टू द वेल एंड टेल देम यहाँ पे पानी है. मतलब प्यासे को आप कुएं के पास तक ले जा सकते हैं लेकिन पीना उसको खुद ही है. सो आई वुड से कि लीडर वो खुद ही है. We, the multidisciplinary team, is there to guide them and to give them all the necessary support in terms of knowledge and what they should be doing, should not be doing. But ultimately करना उन्हीं को है and they should be the one taking the lead. They should be the one taking control of their own life as well. और जैसा अभी आपने बताया कि माइंड में कितनी पावर है, आई वुड लाइक टू रेकमेंड एवरीवन टू रीड दिस बुक पावर ऑफ योर सबकॉन्शियस माइंड बाय जोसेफ मर्फी. that actually tells you कि आपके माइंड में कितनी पावर है. 95% of the power is there in your mind and that can help you heal so many problems in your life. कॉम्प्लेक्स से कॉम्प्लेक्स इश्यूज भी. तो एक वेट लूज करना तो एक बहुत ही सिंपल सी चीज हो गई पावर ऑफ माइंड को लेकर के. पीपल कैन एक्चुअली डू इट एंड वन शुड रीड दैट बुक. इट्स वेरी वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग.
मैं भी खरीद ऑर्डर देता हूँ. एंड प्रतीक इज विद अस बैकस्टेज. प्रतीक, could you please put this up in the chat box? Power of Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. Murphy.
PHY, yeah.
स्वप्ना जैन जी विद कैरेक्टरिस्टिक ह्यूमिलिटी वो कहते हैं कि डॉक्टर नितिन सर एंड संध्या जी जो डाइटिशियन हैं सीएमसी वेलोर में, एंड ऑफ कोर्स द जैन फैमिली, एवरीबॉडी हैज वर्क टुगेदर टू मेंटेन वेट. तो अब देखें शिल्पा जी, सी द ह्यूमिलिटी एंड द टीम वर्क अप्रोच कमिंग फ्रॉम स्वप्ना. शी नेवर टुक क्रेडिट एंड शी हैज इंक्लूडेड संध्या जी एज वेल. सो what advice would you have for all of us when we go to meet our nutritionist, our dietitian? How should we behave so that Sandhya ji and other dietitians across India can help us in a better manner?
I think everybody does a very good job. I've yet not found anybody not behave is the right word. I think, but two things are very important in any kind of relationship. And like you have a doctor-patient relationship, there is also a relationship between a dietitian and the person you're going to who's receiving the therapy for. So the first and foremost thing is trust. So you have to go with a mind, with a motive that you are going to trust the person to help you. That's very important, because if you're going to doubt them at every step, that it's going to work or it's not going to work, it's really not going to work. So that's the first thing, that there has to be trust. Second thing is, one has to have a little bit open mind. I'm not saying complete open mind, because nobody, even we carry baggages of our thoughts every time we talk about to any person. But थोड़ा सा open mind रखना बहुत ज़रूरी है, because as a dietitian, we all talk to our patients. In fact, we are made fun of because we see every patient at least for 1.5 hour, and people are wondering कि अंदर 1.5 घंटा तुम पेशेंट के साथ करते क्या हो, 1.5 घंटे में क्या बात करते हो इतना. But
उतने
the
में तो
point
पूरी बिरयानी पक जाए.
I know, पूरी बिरयानी बन जाएगी इतने देर
उतने
में.
में तो फीके मिट्टा भी खत्म हो जाता है शिल्पा जी.
Yeah. So the point is that I honestly take a lot of time, and I know a lot of my friends also take a lot of time to explain why there is a weight problem. So, or why are your sugars going high? So, putting that pathophysiology, what we have learned, into simple terms, so that the person is convinced about why they are doing something. And I think that takes time, and then giving them suggestion and resolving their myths. सर जितने झगड़े हमारे सामने हस्बैंड वाइफ करते हैं, शायद ही इतने झगड़े और किसी के, आई एम श्योर नेहा के सामने और ज्यादा करते
और
होंगे,
ज्यादा
पर
होते
हमारे
हैं।
सामने, बिकॉज फूड इज दुखती रग. No, nothing else is as sensitive as food is. Food is something which is closest to your heart. And then the wife will start that I tell him, but he doesn't listen, and so on and so forth. So I think that when you go to a dietitian, keep an open mind, trust him or her, whoever you are going to, and very important is talk about what happens at your home, even if they are wrong things, because you're going there to correct yourself, right? So a lot of people, very early in my practice, I realized when I was a student in Nair Hospital that I asked a patient ke mahine ka tel kitna lagta hai, and it was a big family, it was a family of some 6 7 people, and that person said 16 kilo. And as I was a student, so I was like 16 kilo. And I still remember my mentor, Dr. Salome Benjamin, telling me, कभी भी आंखें बड़ी मत करना पेशेंट के सामने. अब इसके बाद वो सब झूठ कहेगा, because you have judged that person for what he has replied. So I think, I mean, we try not to judge, but again, we are humans. Even if we are, we may seem to be judgmental about it. It's very, very important that patients tell us the truth. That हमको ज्यादा तेल लगता है, we use ghee, मैं घी के में सूखी रोटी नहीं खा सकता, so on and so forth. And I think they all can be resolved very, very easily. So I don't think there is any behavior, but I think what is very important is trust and openness.
So trust and openness. So when you go to meet your dietitian, nutritionist, or doctor, trust the person and go with an open mind. Don't tell a lie and don't hide the truth. And Swapna Jain madam इसमें एक और चीज ऐड करती हैं, which is patience. You should have patience. But I would like to cheer for dietitian Sandhya madam at Vellore, जिन्होंने actually help किया स्वप्ना जी को. So I think 3 cheers for her. And Dr. Pradeep Rawal कह रहे हैं, thanks a lot to the keynote speakers. But I'm sure the keynote speakers will join me in saying that we should be thanking each and every healthcare professional of the country जो मेहनत करते हैं. People do their best to help fight disease. डॉक्टर एनएस शारदा सर पूछते हैं अबाउट पॉलीसिस्टिक ओवरी. डॉक्टर शारदा सर अलाउ करेंगे, we'll take this in a separate session. PCO maybe apart from all the medical therapy, you do need weight loss and you need psychology. Both things are important, and you need a few sensitive aspects of women's health. I mean, you need gender sensitivity, I think, and also sensitivity for the adolescent girls, for the newly married girls. So we can take that up later. But it's been a great, Neha ji and Shilpa ji, being with you. मैं अपनी तरफ से कहता हूँ, I live with obesity, sometimes successfully, sometimes unsuccessfully, but I have become motivated. एक तो मैं वो किताब खरीदूंगा, नेहा, that's a promise. दूसरा, मैं किताब पढ़ूंगा इंग्लिश में, वो भी, that's another promise, and मैं उस पे अमल करूंगा. So 3 promises from my side to Neha ji. And to Shilpa ji, I already know the triggers that I have for unregulated eating. So I know them. The cognition part is fine. I think the behavior, avoiding them. So that's one promise. I will try to avoid those triggers. And second is I will try to substitute those triggers with the healthier triggers, or with triggers for healthier behavior. So I'll try to do that. And third promise, that I will not go on keto diet again or any other fad diet. I will do something which is sustainable. And हमारे पास स्वप्ना जैन जी तो हैं ही हैं, who is the role model. So I think things should be fine for me as well. With this, I'd like to thank you. Any last comments? We have people from all across India watching us. So maybe we can ask Neha ji first. Any comments from your side before we conclude?
Well, I would only like to say that above and all, there are no shortcuts to weight loss. कोई ऐसी टेक्निक नहीं है जो आपको शॉर्टकट करके छोटी से छोटे कम से कम टाइम में वेट लॉस करा दे. It takes time, and one should be very realistic with a lot of patience to try and lose weight. But it is possible. Impossible नहीं है. It is possible, provided you get the right guidance, the right advice at the right time, and most importantly, you're able to condition your mind and behavior to work in that direction. So it's a combination of a lot of things, but it is possible realistically with a lot of patience.
Thanks. And Shilpa ji, you are known and you are respected as one of the senior most experts and voices in this field in the country. Comments from you, please.
So I think in any metabolic condition, not only in person who are struggling with obesity, but with diabetes, with hypertension, one has to remember that we are all work in progress. सो यहाँ कोई नहीं है जो माउंट एवरेस्ट जिसने ओबेसिटी या डायबिटीज का माउंट एवरेस्ट जीत लिया है. नोबडी इज देयर. वी आर ऑल ऑन आवर पाथ्स एंड आई थिंक व्हाट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इज टू स्टे ऑन द पाथ. इट इज होता है ऐसे, यू नो, देयर इज अ वेरी nagging thing in obesity management, and sir will agree, which is called as a weight plateau. आप भूखे रह लो पर 100 ग्राम वजन कम नहीं होता. And it is very, very disheartening when you are doing everything and nothing happens. And that is the time when most of the people give up diet. So I think whether it is set point or there is no set point, I think you keep doing what you're doing. Exactly like school, you know, sometimes you study a lot, but your marks don't improve. एंड देन फिर 10th स्टैंडर्ड में जाकर बोर्ड में बड़े अच्छे नंबर मिलते हैं. पूरी स्कूल लाइफ नहीं मिलते, बट यू गेट इट वंस इन योर लाइफ. So I think it is exactly like that. You will see the effect of it eventually. And like I said, it is not all on the scale. It is in the measuring tape. It is in the mind, you know, how you feel about yourself, and it is in your blood report. So you may be 4 kgs overweight, but if your sugars are back normal, your lipids are good, everything is fine, your waist circumference is good, and you are feeling good about yourself, I think that's good enough. You don't have to, you know, that there is no number. You can't say, you know, मेरा 85 kilo होना चाहिए. So if you're 52, doesn't mean you have lost the battle. No.
Right. So I think great insights from both our speakers today. And Pratik is with us backstage. Pratik, could you please show a certificate of appreciation for both our speakers today? And Neha Verma ji, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
And
Thank you
Shilpa
so
ji,
much.
thank you. हम लोग KK Med Talks में हमारा उद्देश्य यही है, that's our aim, to spread awareness about health, about nutrition, about well-being. And when all of us get together, we keep on learning from each other. That's what we've done today. We've learned the power of integrated approach, and we've learned how we can, you know, strengthen our resolve to optimize our weight. इस चीज पे हम चर्चा आगे भी करते रहेंगे. मैं हर सोमवार और वीरवार आपके साथ होता हूँ 7 से 8 बजे, और अलग-अलग टॉपिक्स लाएंगे. एंड आई थिंक वी विल फोकस मोर ऑन दिस, बिकॉज एक सेल्फिश मोटिव जो मेरा है, मेरा मोटिवेशन बढ़ गया आज आफ्टर लिसनिंग टू बोथ आवर गेस्ट्स, आवर एक्सपर्ट्स. ये सबसे आपसे इजाजत लेते हैं. सब इसके साथ शब खैर, जय हिंद.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.